Yoga past and present. Yoga's history has many places of anonymity and ambiguity due to its oral transmission of sacred texts and the secretive nature of its teachings. But the roots of yoga can be traced back to more than 5,000 years. In the past, the earliest reference to yoga was found when archaeological excavations were made in the Indus Valley, where old carvings depict a figure that some archaeologists think represents a yogi sitting in a traditional cross-legged yoga pose with its hands resting on its knees meditating. Yoga's long rich history can be divided into four main periods of development: the Vedic period, pre-classical period, classical period, and post-classical period. Vedic period. The existence of the Vedas marks this period. The Vedas contains the oldest known yogic teachings, and as such, teachings found in the Vedas are called Vedic Yoga. This is portrayed by rituals and ceremonies that try to go beyond the limitations of the mind. During this time, the Vedic people relied on rishis or dedicated Vedic yogis to teach them how to live in divine harmony. Pre-classical yoga. The creation of the Upanishads marks the pre-classical yoga. The Upanishads further explain the teachings of the Vedas. Yoga shares some characteristics not only with Hinduism but also with Buddhism that we can trace in its history. During the 6th century BC, Buddha started teaching Buddhism, which stresses the importance of meditation and the practice of physical postures. Later, around 500 BC, the Bhagavad Gita or Lord's Song was created, and this is currently the oldest known yoga scripture. It is devoted entirely to yoga and has confirmed that it has been an old practice for some time. Just as the Upanishads further the Vedas, the Gita builds on and incorporates the doctrines found in the Upanishads. Classical period. The classical period is marked by another creation, the Yoga Sutra. Written by Patanjali around the 2nd century, it was an attempt to define and standardize classical yoga. Patanjali's eightfold path of yoga, also called 8 limbs of classical yoga. These are: 1. Yama, which means social restraints or ethical values. 2. Niyama, which is personal observance of purity, tolerance, and study. 3. Asanas or physical exercises. 4. Pranayama, which means breath control or regulation. 5. Pratyahara or sense withdrawal in preparation for meditation. 6. Dharana, which is about concentration. 7. Dhyana, which means meditation. And 8. Samadhi, which means ecstasy. Patanjali believed that each individual is a composite of matter and spirit. He believed that the two must be separated in order to cleanse the spirit, the direct contrast to Vedic and pre-classical yoga that implied a union of body and spirit. Patanjali's concept was prevailing for some centuries, so much so that some yogis focused exclusively on meditation and neglected their asanas. It was only later that the belief of the body was sacred was revived and attention to the importance of the asana was revitalized. Post-classical yoga. A great number of independent yoga schools and forms that were developed during the period after the Yoga Sutras. As opposed to Patanjali's yoga, the yoga of this era was very much like the post-classical and Vedic traditions, characterized by the unification of body and mind. Yogis of the past had not paid very much attention to the physical body, as they focused all their energy on contemplation and meditation. The new generation of yogis, however, developed a system where different exercises, in conjunction with deep breathing and meditation, would help keep the body young and prolong life. This also paved the way for the creation of Hatha Yoga, and other branches and schools of Tantra Yoga. The present modern yoga is said to have begun by the young Swami Vivekananda from India. Made a deep impression on the American he introduced to. Yoga masters began to travel to the West, attracting attention and followers. In the 1920s, Hatha Yoga was strongly promoted in India with the lifelong work of T. Krishnamacharya. Krishnamacharya traveled through India giving demonstrations of yoga poses and opened the first Hatha Yoga school. During the 1950s, one of the foremost yoga teachers of his time, Selvarajan Yasudian, wrote the book Sport and Yoga, and it was through this book yoga entered the world of sports. Today we can observe many athletes and sports teams that has incorporated yoga in their injury-reducing, strengthening and focus-oriented training regimens. In the middle of the 60s, yoga got a real promotional boost when the yogi Maharishi Mahesh taught yoga to the famous pop stars in the Beatles. Many other artists and musicians were influenced to take up yoga as well. Yoga became especially popular in Hollywood when Russian-born Indra Devi opened a yoga studio in Hollywood in 1947. She taught movie stars like Gloria Swanson, Jennifer Jones and Robert Ryan, as well as educating hundreds of yoga teachers. Yoga today has gained tremendously in popularity and has a following over 30 million people from all over the world and is the most rapidly growing health movement of today. From celebrities to the common man, everybody is now aware of the health and mental benefits of yoga. In fact, many doctors recommend yoga especially for stress and relaxation. New studies have shown a high success rate up to 73% for treating depression with Sudarshankriya, the pranayama technique taught in the U.S. as the healing breath technique. Yoga past and present. Yoga's history has many places of anonymity and ambiguity due to its oral transmission of sacred texts and the secretive nature of its teachings. But the roots of yoga can be traced back to more than 5,000 years. In the past, the earliest reference to yoga was found when archaeological excavations were made in the Indus Valley, where old carvings depict a figure that some archaeologists